discovered comics around the age of 3. I was living with my grandparents. My parents had just recently split up, and we were living with them. And I remember playing with toys one day, and I was watching TV too because I like to multitask. And I remember watching the old Super Friends cartoon, and Green Lantern just like jumped out at me, and I was just so shocked about it. And this was somewhere in the summer of '81. And my grandfather had just gotten home a little while ago and had seen that I was watching Green Lantern. He was saying how much, he hadn't seen Green Lantern in a while. And I said, I don't get it. Green Lantern's new. I didn't understand what was going on. And he ended up explaining to me right afterwards. So it was a pretty incredible experience. And after that, I kind of just got into comics. Um, After that, there was a little corner market, as we call it, which is about 8 blocks from where I lived, and my mom would stop there regularly, and I saw comics on the stands then because we didn't really have any comic book stores in the area at that time. And I remember just picking up Spider-Man. I don't know what issue it was, but it had had Mysterio on it, which was one of my favorite villains I'd seen on the old '60s cartoon they had shown and everything. And I was watching a lot of the other cartoons at that point in time, including Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. So I just started reading comics well, I couldn't really read comics, I should say, but my mom would just, at night we would sit on the couch and she'd just read the books to me and everything. And I just loved hearing the stories and everything, and just a little magical experience. And then when I got older, I started reading up to about, pretty much towards the end of grade school. And then, got to that age, video games were cooler, so were movies. So, stopped kind of reading comics for a while after that. And I got back into them in high school during the transition phase, and comics weren't really cool wise then, but there were a lot of cartoons like X-Men and Spider-Man at that time in the '90s, as well as Silver Surfer and some other series, and they kind of had that nice little genre, and then I kind of just started reading comics from then on for a while. Um, it was it was the it was March of 2008. It was actually a few weeks after my birthday. I saw a 2-year relationship come to a very sad end, and not even a week later, I was told by my supervisor that my job position was being eliminated. And it was such a dark moment for me in 2008, and I was facing debt, I was facing unemployment, and I ended up going to my office room, is what I called it. And I had all these, stacks of long boxes of comics, about 18 at the time, because I've been recollecting for a couple of years by then. And I started just saying, I've got to sell these. I have to get money. I have to pay for things off until I get back on my feet. I was, I'd gone back to an old job, so I was working full time again, but I had a lot of debt that was left over from this previous relationship and other things that had happened at that time. So I started sorting through my books. I started pulling out a bunch, and then I saw my first Green Lantern book I had picked up again in 1994. And it kind of hit me when I said to myself, boy, I remember when I first discovered Green Lantern back in the '80s, and it just hit me. So I just ran to my desk over there where my computer was. I pulled out a notebook and I started writing it, and I titled it My Life as a Comic Book Reader, and I said Chapter 1 as Seen on TV, because that's how I discovered comics. And I just kept going. And I sat there for about 2 hours writing out to right where I was right now selling my comics. And I just kind of left it at that. Over the next year, I started adding a chapter because I was saying to myself, I was actually saying, God, how am I going to get out of this? Why did this go through? Why did I go through this? And I just started writing the story, and I just kept adding a chapter, or more of like a page, how I was getting through these hard times. And then I stopped actually in 2010 because I had met my wife. I had a baby on the way. Life was looking really good. So I kind of just put it away and kind of left it at the end chapter with, the character getting married. As I just said earlier, the reason it took 6 years is because I kind of worked on it slowly. And then what had happened, I had put it away in 2010, but 2 months later, my world came crashing down again. I lost my job. I was having a baby on the way. I had unemployment. We moved in with my wife's parents to, afford things, and I ended up selling what was left of my collection then, and I actually stopped reading books in general. I just stopped. And I said again, I said, God, how am I going to get through this? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And then all of a sudden, I don't know what it was, but I just went back to my desk drawer and I pulled out my story and I added the next chapter, said, now what? And I started writing again. And I did it for the next year. And in 2011, I kind of finished the base outline because I just finished with school. I had just earned a second degree, and I kind of found a way to bring on a next chapter. And then in 2012, I finally finished the book. I finally put the last page with the character kind of having a really good ending, but at the same time, the future was unknown because that's how it was for me. Things had turned around hugely. I was working a great job. My son was healthy. My wife was doing very well. We were getting ready to move into our own house after everything had happened the last couple of years. And I just finished the book right there in 2012, pretty much 2013. I wanted to get it published now is because I had seen two friends of mine have stories similar or had gotten stories that they had created through Kickstarter to get published. And I felt right now was the perfect time to get it published. And I searched frantically for an artist. I finally found one with Natisha, and the book just started coming to life. And I decided I've got to do this. I've got to put this on Kickstarter. I have to get it published. I have to get this all finished. And the truth is, the reason I want to do it now is because now was the time. I felt the world was ready for it. I was ready for it. I believed in the project. The story was finished. It was being illustrated beautifully. I had a great creative team on everything, and I feel now is the time to do it. And I, only have to December 17th to get it finished to raise the money needed to publishing it. My life as a comic book reader started in March of 2008, but I realized in that moment that I had been starting that since the day I first, turned on TV and found out about comics and my grandfather telling me. And that was a story I wanted to tell. And the book is for everyone. I wanted to make this a well-written story where everybody can enjoy it. I didn't want to make it for the comic geek. I didn't want to make it for the 4-year-old. I didn't want to make it for the, person who is down on their luck and doesn't know how they're going to get through next day. I wanted to make this for everybody, to be a wonderful story they can all enjoy, whether you're 3 or whether you're, close to retirement age. I wanted to make this all ages, for the young and the young at heart. And I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to get it out there, and I need everybody's help to make this story come true. And I really believe in it. It's probably a story I have had a really hard time trying to finish, and now it's very close, and I really want to see it finished finally. So I'm just asking everybody to help me with this, who has, or share, and those who have helped, thank you so much, because I could not have done this without you. So thank you for that. And I hope you check it out, My Life as a Comic Book Reader. It's a really well-written story, at least in my opinion. Other people have already read the early pages and really, really resonates with them. So thank you so much, and I'll see you around.